Alpha Theta Corp, the parent company for Pioneer DJ, acquired Serato, the company.
Scandalo.
And there was no notice. Nobody knew. Everybody was blind. Everybody in the industry was completely blindsided by this.
Right.
I never would have thought of either of them coming together like this. My first concern when I first heard about this was that companies like Reloop and Mixars and Hercules and stuff like that, and also In Music, which is Denon, Rain, and Newmark, I was concerned that those companies who are currently paying Serato for licensing, they were basically just had their end of life announced. And it seems like Serato and Pioneer are being very clear that that's not going to be the case, at least for now, in the press release.
For now.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not like your direct competition, but it is.
I could tell you, in my opinion, the first thing that's going to happen from this, because let me back up a little bit. For those that don't understand the difference between Pioneer and Serato. First of all, if you think Pioneer and Serato are the same size company, you're absolutely out of your mind. Some people, because of the fact that Serato is on all these different controllers, including Pioneer gear, they think that Serato is the maker.
Bigger than it is.
Right. They think that they are the maker of the gear that they're using. To be really clear, Serato has way more to gain than this than Alpha Theta Corp, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And so we'll start there. I need to explain Serato's model. The Serato business model is to make Serato DJ Pro and then sell Serato DJ Pro to a loyal customer base. And then they leverage that loyal customer base to companies that make DJ hardware. And so these companies like Hercules, they want DJs to use their hardware. And in order to get DJs to use their hardware, they want to find the software that DJs are already using. So they work with companies like Serato in order to get Serato software to work with their DJ hardware. That's how Serato makes their money. That's why Serato is free. That's why you could just download Serato, because they make their money selling that license to the people that are making the hardware that you're buying. So when you buy that hardware, some of that money that you paid is actually going towards the licensing fees that the companies had to pay in order to make it work. On the other hand, Pioneer doesn't make their money that way. Pioneer makes software, but they make software for hardware that they build. They generate revenue by selling DJ hardware for profit. And they make the hardware themselves, and they actually also make software that is designed to work with that hardware. But, and this is important, up until today, Pioneer DJ is also very aware that there's a lot of people that love to use Serato DJ. So along with the software that they make in-house, they also, in addition, pay for the licensing for Serato to work on their DJ hardware. Most people that are using Serato, the majority install base, are using Pioneer DJ hardware. A really simple analogy would be to say Serato is like Windows and Pioneer is like Apple, whereas the Windows operating system is being sold to Dell, being sold to Asus, being sold to MSI, being sold to all these different companies in order for Windows to work on their hardware that they make.
Right.
Whereas Apple, they make the MacBook Pro
the stuff, and they put
their software on it. Right.
And it can, through whatever, run other shit. But yeah.
Serato has so much to gain. So much to gain. But I really feel like Pioneer, this is a power play from Pioneer. People want to joke and say that they wanted to get Serato stems, and that could be icing on the cake, but I don't think that's the move. I think the move, in my opinion, is to go after these licensing contracts for these third parties that Serato's been going after. Because you got to remember, up until today, Serato's motivation was to get out there into all these different third-party manufacturers and get their Serato onto these third-party manufacturers' devices. That motivation has changed as of today.
Right.
Pioneer don't need them. They don't need to license Serato to these brands.
They can stop.
They can stop, or I think, in my opinion, the first thing they're going to do
jack up the price.
Exactly. Because there's no negotiation anymore. Before, Serato did not have all the leverage to these companies because they did not make hardware. Both companies needed each other, and so there were deals made in order to make this happen. But now Pioneer does not need them. It is not the same position. And so yeah, I think the first thing that's going to happen is that you're going to jack up the price, which means that's going to drive the price up of all the competitors' products. Because if they have to pay this new licensing fee, that affects the bottom line, which means all their price points are going to go up. And some of these products, their whole basis for being sold is the fact that they're a lower price point, they're more affordable. I'm not a pro DJ. I know that Pioneer is the one that's supposed to be the one that I get, but this Hercules is looking good, and this is how much money I have. I'm gonna run with this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And let's be real, there's more people in that beginner middle market than the pro market.
Prosumer to, entry level kind of.
Consumer prosumer, right?
Yeah.
There are way more people in the consumer prosumer market than in the professional market. Pioneer can just be like, yo, everybody's going to get a Rev 1 and a FLX4 and we're good. They're going to have to fall back on their in-house software. A lot of them do. Hercules has their own DVS. I know there's the engine software for in-music, but the thing is that it falls back on that leverage that Serato had from the get-go. They have the user base. They have the actual people. Let me ask you this. If you're anybody in the chat who's loyal to the brand of Rain, okay? Rain is a perfect example. If you're loyal to the brand of Rain, up until this point, Rain has exclusively used Serato as their flagship DJ software. If you're a diehard Rain person, and all of a sudden, In Music, who now owns Rain, says that, oh, well, unfortunately, this new Rain product is no longer going to work with Serato, and you're going to have to start using Engine instead. Are you that loyal to Rain to switch to Engine, or would you be going to Pioneer strictly so that you wouldn't have to change from Serato? That's the dividing point that's potentially in front of somebody. This one was amazing. This is probably my favorite one. Big up Ajax. This one was pretty good. Serato's stems sounds better than ours. Would be a shame if someone bought Serato. While partnership will capitalize on the combined expertise of both companies, Alpha Theta and Serato will continue to operate as standalone brands. This includes the continuation of their long-standing partnerships with key players in the DJ hardware and software industry. What I'm curious about is if Pioneer technically, or Alpha Theta, is continuing to develop Serato from this point forward. What does that mean for the future of software companies like Mix Emergency, SoundSwitch? What's the future of those types of solutions, right? The software-based solutions, not necessarily the hardware ones. Curious, will Mix Emergency stop working in the next revision of Serato? Entity makes a good point about the humanity side of it. Like, I wonder who's losing their jobs over at Serato from this. I think that like software development wise and R&D wise, probably a little more secure than maybe the marketing and promotion team, sales teams, things like that. I feel like some of that gets absorbed into Alpha Theta. I don't know how many employees Serato had. I mean, they couldn't have been that big. I'll tell you this. I no longer use Serato DJ Pro as my DVS. I did in 2005-ish up until 2017. And then in 2017, or 2018, maybe early 2018, I bought a new MacBook Pro at the time. And the Serato version that was out, there was not compatibility stated yet for my hardware. Does this sound familiar? Pioneer and Rekordbox were already compatible. They were first to market on that before Serato. As a pro, I needed to use something. In 2018, I moved my Serato library that I had been curating since 2005. I moved that entire library over to Rekordbox, playlists and all. Because the only reason I used Rekordbox before was just to export USBs for drum and bass gigs. I no longer needed to use two different programs and manage two different libraries. I could just put it all in the same library. And if I had a gig with the controller, Rekordbox. If I had a gig with turntables and an S11, Rekordbox. Or CDJs, Rekordbox on sticks. If it's a 1 hour set, you know what I mean? Rekordbox on sticks all day. That whole idea of it being one library it was amazing. If Serato had the ability to export to USB sticks from the get-go, I would have been like, maybe I will go back to Serato because you're a Serato user, right?
Yes, yes.
And I'm a
Record
Rekordbox.
user.
I'm a Rekordbox user, right?
Yeah.
So what if like 2 years from now,
Yeah.
where we're at, we actually end up using the same program because that's what our program became. My program became whatever it is, and your program
Yeah.
also became whatever it is. And now we
And
just
we're back. We're doing the thing. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I like, to be honest. Like, I don't give a what their press release says. I think that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I,
I
call me crazy.
Serato 3.5, you ready for this? Serato
Yes.
3.5, they
KFC
adopt Rekordbox's subscription model, and they offer the cloud backup to Dropbox that Rekordbox has, the cloud storage and the library management. I think that one thing that Serato is difficult with is the actual management of the media files.
Yeah.
Because it manages your library just fine, but if you're not taking care of your media files, you end up with just a bunch of like new shit folders and an
We've
unsorted
had.
mess as Archon. Yeah.
That's exactly what my fucking
It's your
computer is.
downloads folder for
Yeah.
some of you,
Right.
right? It's
Fucking guilty as charged, dude. Guilty as charged.
How many people in the chat, their music library folder is their downloads folder? It's just sitting in the downloads still.
It's not sorted by genre, by year, by nothing. It's just all straight download folder.
Right.
I have
Embrace the
music.
chaos.
Yeah, I have music that is in, different, folders and shit like that. But
Right.
the majority of that shit is
Just
straight up in the downloads.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that's where all that lives.